Shalom Aleichem. Maybe you haven't visited Israel. Shalom Aleichem means peace to you, and then you say Aleichem Shalom. To you, peace. Very good. Todo Rabbah means thank you very much. Let me introduce myself to you. My name is Elazar. Though in English, you may have heard my name as Lazarus. My name in Hebrew means God has helped. And indeed, God has helped me. In fact, the word help may be too weak of a word. And that's why your pastor invited me to come all the way from Bethany, Israel. I don't know if you've been to Israel before, but Bethany is about 5 miles away from Jerusalem. It's the city of figs and dates. So if you ever come to Bethany, please look up Lazarus, or maybe you have to say Elazar, and I will invite you over to my home, and I will make some homemade falafel and hummus, and we'll have a great time. But my friends, some of the friends I just met before the service, like Jay and Lindsay and Stephen and Anatha and Lainey. Here's why I'm here, all right? I'm here to be the evidence to somebody what textbooks will never show you. May my story reveal the power that you are going to need, not just someday, but every day. Every day. Oh, so before I share my story with you, maybe I should let you know about my family. All right? I'm sure you have a family, and I have 2 sisters, Mary and Martha. How would you describe them? I learned a word coming to America, Jesus freaks. All right? People who are so obsessed and consumed about Jesus, that's all I want to talk about. Well, that's a good description of my 2 sisters, Mary and Martha. That's all I want to talk about. Now for me, I was curious about Rabbi Jesus, or we call him Yeshua, but I was a little distant from him, but I had no choice. My 2 sisters would always invite Yeshua and his followers over to their house for dinner. In fact, there was one dinner that really just stood out to me, which was Martha was in the kitchen preparing dinner, and Mary was sitting at the feet of Jesus, just absorbing what was Jesus saying. And I was there kind of in the background, and tension was thick. Martha was like, Mary should be helping me. In fact, Mary kind of pulled me aside and said, you need to go talk to your sister and tell her to come in. And I was like, I'm not getting involved in this. And so Martha, she's got a bold. She didn't go to Mary. She went right to Jesus and said, Jesus, can you tell my sister to come help me? And then, I didn't see this coming. I really didn't. I don't think anyone saw this coming. But Jesus, Rabbi Jesus, affirmed the action of Mary. Man, the message was loud and clear. To be a follower of Jesus is not to work so hard for Jesus that you miss just enjoying being with Jesus. Earlier today, I was talking briefly with Pastor Travis, and he confessed. All right. In fact, I even asked for his permission to share this, so I don't know if he will invite me back, but he confessed that sometimes he serves God and he does it without joy. And then he went on and said that in his 20 years of pastoring that he's met Christians, I don't know, maybe some of you, who have served God by serving others without joy. My friends like Kim and Mike, what am I trying to say is don't put going to church before being the church. I know it's so easy to look at today, it's an Easter Sunday, like happy resurrection. But to see this service and say, whoa, like it's something to check off. Like, isn't going to Easter service like worth like 3 months or 6 months of Sunday services? All right, okay. Like, don't go there. Right? Be the church. But here's the thing. You can't be the church if you're not in and with the church, with the people of God. As I would tell my friends, I'm telling you, the best place for a child of God is in the family of God. All right, well, back to Yeshua. Well, Rabbi Yeshua, he knew how to attract a crowd, right? But he had very few followers. There was many people like myself. I was sort of like a fan of Jesus, but I wasn't like all in with Jesus. I liked what he said, and I took what some of he said, and I tried to apply it to my life, but I really was, my life was really centered around myself. Maybe you can identify with me, even though you and I, we live in different cultures. So I was a fan until there was that moment. Maybe you've had that moment, a defining moment, an aha moment. And I heard Jesus say this. In fact, I had one of my friends, Matthew, and he was always taking notes. I think he even wrote a biography of Jesus. And on one occasion, he wrote this that Jesus said. And he said this actually many times. But the first time I heard this, he said, "Come, come, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." I don't know how you resonate with that, but let me tell you how it resonated with me. It deeply moved me. As I looked about my culture and how the Roman government was always trying to take from me, all those greedy tax collectors were always trying to take and take and take. I was overwhelmed at times with the injustices that I saw. And yet here comes a rabbi saying, the only thing I want to take from you is your burdens. And in exchange, I was like, all right, what's the catch here? In exchange, he just wanted to give me rest, peace, joy. And so I surrendered my life. What does that mean? It means whatever he believes, that's what I want to believe. However he loves, that's how I want to love. Whatever he does, that's what I want to do. So I fully went right in. Now looking back, I should have said yes to Jesus a lot sooner. I told myself some excuses like, I need more time. I'm not ready yet. I need to do more research. But just between you and me, I kind of grew comfortable with just being a fan of Jesus and still kind of trying to be in charge of my life and actually just being a fully devoted follower of Rabbi Yeshua. When I said yes to Jesus, when I saw him for who he was, more than a teacher, that he was the Son of God, God with skin on, God in the flesh, all my sort of qualifications, conditions just sort of fell by the wayside. Have you ever put conditions on relationships? Maybe with friendships, maybe with Jesus? Like, I'll be your friend if you meet my needs, if you are nice to me, if you don't get too personal with the questions you ask me. If you can do that, then we can have a friendship. Sometimes I've seen people who love Jesus do the same thing. They can put conditions. They sort of have a if-then kind of faith. I will follow you, Jesus, if you take away my pain, heal my body, give me a better job, right? That I have kids, or take my kids that are wandering, or my grandchildren that are wandering, and bring them back to you. Fix my marriage. Give me more consistent and better sleep. We can put conditions, but what I'm trying to tell you, my new friends in Portland, is that when I saw Jesus, as he truly was, all of my conditions fell by the wayside. I could go on, but I haven't even gotten to my story yet. I haven't even gotten to my story yet. So, kind of fast forward, I got sick. Right? I got really sick. And my two sisters, they were also, maybe the word was prayer warriors. And they called out people to pray. I was praying. At that time, I've already said yes to Jesus. And so everyone was praying. And I wasn't getting better. I wasn't getting better. I was actually getting worse. And I got scared. My sisters got scared. And so they thought, we know what to do. We'll send word to Jesus. And if he comes, he will heal Lazarus. And so, the hope was being built up. But Jesus didn't come in time. It's sort of ironic. My name means God helps, and yet God didn't help. Did you hear what I said? Jesus did not come in time. What do when the one who has the power to heal you? What do you do when the one who has the authority to fix your problems doesn't show up? Well, during that time, there was people. I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt. With good intentions, they thought, well, maybe the reason why I'm not healed is because I don't have enough faith. People said that to me. People said that to my sister. Well, maybe you don't have enough faith, or maybe you haven't had enough people praying. So when I came back to life, I know that's a little big, that's a little strange to say, but I'll get to that. All right. But when I came back to life, I had some hard conversations with some of those people that said, I don't have enough faith. My sisters didn't have enough faith. I tried to tell them as gently as I could that when God doesn't come through on your timetable, when God doesn't answer your prayers, when God seems silent, consider this, that what you and I view as setbacks might just be actually setups for God to show his power in some surprising way. Man, I got a list of things that I could just share with you right there. I don't know where you're at, but praise God that his delays are not necessarily his denials. I wonder if you needed to hear that. I don't know what you're facing, but maybe you need to hear that when you're waiting on God and you're wondering where is God in the midst of your situation or in the midst of a family or a friend, where are you, God? Your waiting time is not wasted time. Well, back to the story of how I got really sick, and yes, I died. Like I tasted death. And when I say I died, how do I put it? I mean I was like dead. In the Jewish culture, when someone died, that was sort of final, but it wasn't until the fourth day where it was like they're never coming back. I mean, there was this idea that maybe in the first 3 days that through medicine, maybe they weren't really dead. They could just be brought back to life, like resuscitated. But now, see, Jesus came on the fourth day. He did come to see me, but it was on the fourth day. In other words, he wanted everybody to know that I was dead. Now, I don't know. I might be the only one in this room who has tasted death, the sting of death, for 4 days. Right. But I know. I don't know most of you, but I know that Jesus has come to see you. Just like Jesus came to see me. Not according to my timetable, maybe not according to your timetable, but Jesus came to see you. Maybe you felt all alone, not being cared for. You were deeply discouraged. It's okay to say sometimes, I'm depressed. I am full with anxiety. But then in that moment, Jesus came to see you and gave you the hope, maybe gave you the perspective, gave you the wisdom, gave you the comfort you needed. Maybe you didn't even know you needed it, but he came to see you. Back home, people say, Eleazar, you're a follower of the way, or you're a follower of Christianity. I usually don't like to use the word Christianity much because you ask 10 people what Christianity is, you're going to get 10 different answers. So I don't know what you've been taught regarding Christianity or what has been demonstrated to you. But let me just say that Christianity doesn't promise, right? Doesn't promise that if you come to Jesus, he will somehow take away, remove you from darkness. Right? No, Christianity does promise that Jesus will come to you in the midst of your darkness. And what a God that is that would come to us in the midst of our darkness. Well, so I'm dead, all right? I'm in the tomb, and then Jesus comes on the fourth day. He comes on the fourth day. And my sister Martha and Mary both were very disappointed with Jesus. Very disappointed. Mary actually went public. She voiced it to Jesus, but so did Martha. And the way that Martha did was that she left the house. She heard Jesus was coming. She left the house and went out to meet Jesus. And there was a crowd, and she basically says, if you came sooner, Lazarus would not have died. Whew. She was bold. She was bold to say that in front of people. Maybe you're so bold to express your doubts or your disappointments with God. Or maybe you're really maybe disillusioned with the people of God, the church. Oh, maybe you have a story. But I'm just trying to tell you that even though I wasn't there for that conversation between Jesus and my sister Martha, but I know Jesus well enough that he's big enough that he can handle my sister's doubts, and he's big enough to handle your disappointments, and he's big enough to handle your disillusions with the church. And if you so allow, Jesus will help you, walk with you to navigate your disappointments and your doubts and your disillusionments with the people of God. He will. He will, if you allow him. Well, Jesus said to Martha, your brother will rise again. Martha, man, she gave such a religious answer. All right. Maybe the Sunday school answer, the church answer. And she says, oh, I know. He will rise again one day. The one thing I love about Jesus is that he is not afraid to take moments and speak truth in love to us. And so based on Martha's response, Jesus revealed something to Martha that maybe you need to be revealed today, that you need to be reminded of. Martha had been with Jesus for years. But here's what Jesus said, and my other friend John, he also was taking notes. He wrote this in his biography of Jesus. Jesus said this to my sister Martha, I am the resurrection and the life. And whoever believes in me will live, even though they die. And whoever lives and believes in me will never die. Whew. Like, who says that? Who can say that? Maybe you've heard that before, but here's what still blows my mind about this, right? Maybe you need getting ready. Maybe this will blow your mind away. But Jesus didn't need to be resurrected to be the resurrection. For resurrection is much more than an event or an experience, but a person to know and a person to follow. Jesus loves to ask questions. And he asked my sister Martha this question, and if I would be so bold to say, he's asking you this question today. Oh, you and I, we can study the Bible, and we can read about Jesus, and we have our list of questions, but Jesus is asking you some questions too. And the question that Jesus is asking all of us is the same question he asked my sister Martha, which is, do you believe this? Do you believe this? Life is hard. Life can wear us down. And it can just be the circumstances of life that leads us to maybe an if-then kind of faith. Oh, my sisters were prayer warriors. My sisters were Jesus freaks. But they had come, because of my death, they had come to the conclusion that if Jesus just showed up, then something bad wouldn't happen. They didn't understand that what we might see as setbacks are actually setups for God to demonstrate his power in a greater way. And so they needed to answer the question, like some of us need to answer the question is, do I really believe that Jesus is the resurrection and the life? And if I do, how does that change my life? Maybe some of you, you're waiting on God today. Maybe you came here and it's Easter Sunday. You traditionally go. Maybe someone invited you here, but in your mind, you're like, I'm waiting on God to do something for me before I take the next step. I want to know the answer to this question. But that's walking by sight, not by faith, and we're called to walk by faith. As I heard one pastor say this, he said this, faith is believing. Right? Faith is believing that it is so, even though it is not yet so. for whatever God says will become so one day. Faith. Faith is believing that hope is not in change itself, but in the person of Jesus Christ, and that changes everything. So Jesus came to see me on the fourth day that I died. 4 days. I was told that when he got to my sister's house, he didn't immediately come to see me. But my sisters and other people that were in the house, they were weeping. They were crying. And what's so interesting is that Jesus didn't come and say, "Why are you crying? Here's what I'm going to do." No. What John told me later was that Jesus wept. He cried. That raises up the thought that maybe some of us who are waiting on the Lord for a breakthrough, for the answer to prayer, and the reason why we haven't seen it yet is because God just wants to sit with you. He wants to weep with you. He wants to cry with you. What kind of a God would do something like that? Well, Jesus would. And Jesus did. And then, he came to see me. He came to see me. And he called out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come forth." I'm dead. But his voice of authority did something to me. I begin to sort of, I'm laying down, I begin to like, "Oh, what's going on?" Like, I started to move, and my eyes began to open, and the blood in my body began to recirculate. And I thought, "Oh my goodness," he said, "I have to obey." He said, "Lazarus, come forth." And so I stood up, and I had a hard time walking at first, and so I did a little Easter hop here, and then I gently started to walk, because he was calling me. He said, "Lazarus, come forth," and I began to walk. Your pastor says, "Lazarus, tell us about the resurrection. Tell us the details." And I said, okay. And so I started reading some books on what happened to me biologically. But I don't think that would help you. I don't think it would help you. My friends like Bella and Cal, what I'm trying to say is it's okay. It really is. It's okay to know the exact details of your resurrection story. The important thing is that the resurrection explains me. The one who said, "I'm the resurrection and the way," explains me. The one who says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," explains me. I know that some, maybe many of you, have also said yes to Jesus. You've gone all in, right? You're not a fan of Jesus. You're not a skeptic. I mean, you're all in. I mean, if you're a fan, you're a skeptic, then Jesus meets you right where you're at. But some of you are all in, and so you have a resurrection story. Don't be afraid to tell it. Don't be afraid. And here's the why. Here's the why you shouldn't be afraid to tell it, is because you're the living proof evidence that somebody needs to see and hear this week. I'll say that again. You, Jacob and Alan and Ellen, you are the living proof evidence that people in your sphere of influence needs to see and hear. Later on, I don't know when, because I'm your guest today. Later on, somebody, I think Pastor Debs is going to announce there's going to be people in the back available to pray with you for anything. It could be you want to say yes to Jesus for the first time, or you've been drifting and you want to reconnect. There'll be someone in the back available to pray with you. Maybe you just need the courage to share your resurrection story, or you need wisdom on how to share it with maybe a specific person or situation. Don't be afraid to go back and receive prayer for that. Maybe you have some disappointments towards God. Maybe you're disillusioned with the church, and there's a story, you got some hurt. And so when you tell yourself, wow, I like Jesus, but not the church. Or I need God, but I don't need the church. And maybe you would be so vulnerable, all right, to go back and say, listen, I really don't see the beauty of the church, but I want to. Would you pray for me that I would have eyes to see the beauty, that really the imperfect beauty of the messy people of God? And how is that beautiful? Oh, Jesus would love to show you. Maybe you're facing a situation and as I've been sharing my story with you, you really haven't been paying attention because you've been thinking about something that's really heavy on your heart. Well, that's okay. God will meet you right there. Go back and receive prayer. Blessed are those who acknowledge their desperate need for prayer. And talking to some of you, here's the vibe I get from Montavilla, and that it's a safe place, a safe space to ask your questions, to process your doubts, to receive healing from your past and your hurts. And maybe your next step is to get connected, maybe to come back a few Sundays and see the community that's here at Montavilla. One more thing, and this is sort of, it's weird and it's embarrassing, all right? It's weird and embarrassing. The weird thing is, before the service, I met someone who also is from Israel, all right? And the embarrassing thing is I forgot her name. But I haven't forgotten her story. I remember years ago, I heard her share her story, and I was like, I was deeply moved by it. And she is here today. And I was like, what are you doing here? I'm thinking, what's your name? But she said she's here for a celebration. I don't know if she's here to celebrate Riley Huey's birthday, which is today. Yeah. Or maybe she's here for the celebration that will be in 8 days for Pastor Dwight's birthday in 85 years. Or maybe she's here for Brett and Megan Busby's wedding anniversary tomorrow. All right? I don't know, but here's what I did. I said, would you be willing to share your story? And I haven't even talked to Pastor Travis. Where is Pastor Travis? I don't know. But he doesn't even know. But I said, would you share it? And she said yes. And so she's going to be sharing her story. But your pastor, he says, he says, they got to watch this video. And so we're going to watch a short video called Come to Jesus. So wherever you're at today, whether you've been walking with Jesus for decades or just for a few weeks, or you're a fan, or you're a skeptic, or you're not even sure where you're at, the invitation to you is come to Jesus. Come all who are weary and burdened. And Jesus, Rabbi Jesus, more than a teacher, God with skin on, will meet you. Will meet you. Let's watch.
from all over to hear Jesus teach and preach about the kingdom of God. On one occasion, a massive crowd gathered outside the synagogue to hear him speak. Like any crowd, they were coming from many different places and many different perspectives. Young and old, men and women, rich and poor. But every person in that crowd had this one thing in common. They were tired. Tired of life. Tired of religion. Tired of waiting. And so he looked out upon this multitude of people who were scared, confused, and tired. And he told them, "Come to me." And that offer still stands for every one of us. Come to Jesus. All who are tired, all who are hurting, all who feel unworthy, all who feel unloved, all who have nothing left to give, come to Jesus. Bring your burdens, bring your fears, bring your biggest regrets and your worst mistakes. Bring your broken dreams and your painful disappointments. Bring your chains and bring your addictions. Bring it all and come to Jesus. Because he will receive you and he will redeem you. He will love you and he will lead you. He will accept you and forgive you. He will guide you and comfort you. He will care for you and watch over you. He will transform you and sustain you. So all who are weary, all who are lost, all who are tired, come as you are. Come today. Come to Jesus.
Today is the day. I've heard he'll be coming through a nearby town, and I'm ready. I've replayed today 1,000 times through, measuring my steps, my time, my words, calculating every which way this could go. My mind has run circles around itself, anticipating and thinking through every possible outcome, the what-ifs, the maybe-nots. I'm hoping for mercy, but just as equally expecting rejection. The potential for rejection is what I'm most ready for. It's what I've come to expect in life. If I'm honest, it's best to prepare for every plan after plan A and plan B. That's just the way life is. The heat is stifling, and the air is thick with dust. I see the particles sparkle in the sun, swirling around bodies as they brush past one another, swirling around the carts in the street, the columns of the buildings, branches of trees. There is no breeze today. The land is parched. I am parched. I can't be gone long. They'll notice, and there will be a price to pay when I return. But it's all worth it if I can just get to him. It has to be. All my life I've been unseen, but somehow seen enough to be despised, unworthy, judged, ridiculed, rejected, blamed. I don't know how to get out of this trap of a life I exist in. I hear of peace. I hear of goodness. But these things, they seem to be everyone else around me, just not for me. My heart is constantly crying out in pain, and my physical pain mirrors the pain in my heart. Each day begins with pain and ends in pain. Even now, as I tell you this story, the pain pulses through my head and my back and my hands. Throughout the day, as I go about my work, I silently pray for relief in the nighttime, hoping rest will come, and that my body and spirit will find respite, and the next day will indeed bring a new morning. I hold on to the tiniest sliver of hope, not unlike one of those tiny sparkles of dust swirling in the sunlight ahead of me. I've heard whispers of hope as I walk through the markets, when I pass by groups of people talking about him. I hear the women at the river saying they've seen him and have even heard his teachings from a distance. I've heard him speak of love, of identity, of doing his Father's work. And I hear how he's followed from town to town by the sick and the wounded. And that tells me there is hope. I can't explain it, but everything in me is driven to find him. It's time. I gather my shawl around my head and hold it tight under my chin with my left hand, and my right hand clutches the fabric of my dress so I can walk quickly. I enter the dusty crowd, and though I keep my head down, somehow I'm still recognized, and the whispers begin. Steer clear. Don't touch me. You're unclean, dirty. You reject. Leave. Go back where you belong. I hear the words so often, I can't tell if they're being spoken out loud or if they're only in my head. I tighten my grip on my garments and press forward. The bodies are so tight around me and elbows jar my ribs. I curl my toes in my sandals, feeling the grit of each particle of dirt between my toes, and my hair swirls around my face, damp with sweat as I push ahead and pick up my pace. I cannot describe this feeling. Despite my pain, despite my shame, despite my fear and what I know I will face later, I am compelled. I must find him. There's so many people now, I can't tell which direction I'm going. Am I on course? I start to panic as I realize I'm being carried by the surge of the crowd, and the man in front of me turns unexpectedly and his heavy basket slams against the side of my head. Searing pain. I feel the sting of tears in my eyes, and he looks at me and scoffs. Serves you right. Did he say that? Did I hear it in my head? My vision starts to darken, and I put my hand to my face, blood mixed with tears. My breathing is too fast. No, I can't do this here, not again. I steady myself, and somehow my feet keep moving. And then, there, a voice in the crowd. I hear them say it's him, his robe. I see it. I memorize the detail, but all I can see is the very edge, just the hem, as the crowd shifts. I quickly reach out, and the fabric slips through my fingers, instantly disappearing from view. I'm so close, I can feel it. And suddenly, the crowd stops. I was so focused on my feet and looking for the hem of his robe that I didn't notice we've stopped, and I run into the man with the basket. He turns to me, his fist in the air. My eyes rise to meet his, but my gaze stops on the man standing still behind him, looking at me. It's him. Just as the man with the basket moves to strike me, time stops. The moment suspended. Peace. Then the man with the basket looks away, his fist dropped. The crowd resumes its chaotic movement forward and around, but he stays, his eyes locked on mine. I haven't moved, but suddenly I find myself standing right in front of him. This moment is what I've been searching for without even knowing. It's the promise my spirit dared to whisper and the hope I dared to cling to. Peace, goodness, hope. He takes my hand, and then life, real life, surges through me. Do you want to be healed? Healed? Me? Do I want to be healed? From which thing? Everything? All of it? What does it even mean to be healed? My mind is spinning with the concept and the possibility. To be healed means to be mended, to be remade. It means that I'm broken. Those 6 words have changed my life forever. I am so broken. I need a healer. My soul dares to speak the truth and dares to believe what he can do. Yes, I want to be healed.